Welcome to the Land Your Bets NFL show. I'm your host, Nate Weitzer, bringing you a Sunday night football breakdown for Week 14. We got a big one here. Playoff implications on the line, as always, it seems, in the parody of the NFL today. Chiefs hosting the Texans. Chiefs are -3.5 at home. Season on the line once again. It seems like we say that every week with the Chiefs, but it is certainly the case. So got a couple of looks here in terms of the game picks. Lean on the total pick for the game, and then a couple player props to get you ready for that Sunday night game. Total hasn't moved. It's 41.5, and I would lean over. I mean, because it's good on good here. The Texans defense is the thing that drives these totals down, but Patrick Mahomes is so good that I think they'll be able to score. Kind of an underrated angle here is Andy Reid off a mini bye since they played on Thanksgiving, and we know how good the Chiefs are off a mini bye or off a full bye, and how good Andy Reid is. 22-5 now because he actually lost this season straight up after the bye. So that also lends me to think about the Chiefs coming out well here, having some things schemed up to beat that Texans defense, which, while it's one of the best in the league, it can be exploited in certain ways if you scheme it up. And Andy Reid, one of the best in the game to do that. Mahomes, one of the best to execute it. The Chiefs are actually better than they were last year. They're just losing these close games. They're by DVOA, they are third on offense. Pass offense is fantastic. A couple of misconnections here and there between Mahomes and Worthy and Kelsey have really let them down. But I think they can keep this thing moving. And I'm not as confident in the Texans offense. I think they could do their part to get this total over 40. But it could be a struggle. Will the Texans? I don't think the Texans are going to have any success running the ball really against this front. And with the extra prep time and with the game stakes here at Arrowhead, would expect Chris Jones and company to just shut that down right at the line of scrimmage. But I do think Kareem Hunt, his number is just still too low, man. I mean, he is going to be the lead back as long as he's upright, and as long as Isaiah Pacheco is not forcing the coaching staff's hand. Pacheco just he doing too much, man. I think the coaches just like the fact that Hunt hits the hole, hits it hard, and falls forward. I mean, if we're gonna run the ball, it's because we want a guaranteed 3-4 yards. Basically, is how the Chiefs coaching staff probably feels about it. We don't need you to try to break the big one. Although Hunt has been, because he is so powerful, he can sometimes just push the pile and get 8 yards. Huge and short yardage situations. The Houston pass defense, as we know, is much, much better than the run defense. In fact, they're 29th in rush DVOA, which was shocking for me to read. I mean, they are pretty good in terms of yards per carry and standard measures, but it turns out that their weak strength of schedule has led to some of those good numbers. So they can be had on the ground, and as always with a good pass rush, you're going to want to soften them up with these interior rushes. So that's why I think Hunt will continue to get fed. We got a prop line of 11.5 rush attempts, 34.5 rush yards, which is just, again, too low. It was too low on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys, which is the best run defense in the NFL since adding Quentin Williams. He still goes 50+. And as you see there, 5 of the last 6 lead backs have gone 55+ against the Texans with that exact same approach. Same thing you see against Denver a lot. It's we got to run between the tackles. We got to soften that pass rush. The only guy who didn't get there was Tony Pollard and the sad sack Titans. So trust that Chiefs offense. Maybe we get some offensive linemen back as well to help block for the man. On the other side of the ball, I mentioned Nico Collins is getting some help in terms of somebody being a legit number 2. Jayden Higgins, man, another guy who's just too low. It's the same thing, 34.5 yards on the receiving. And he's on an absolute breakout run. If you don't think the Texans are going to have any success running the ball, then they're going to be throwing a lot of dropbacks for CJ, who I believe has a 34.5 attempt line, 22.5 completions or higher than that for the expectation that he'll be passing. And he immediately connected with Higgins, who was going off with Davis Mills. He goes 5 of 5 in terms of catching his targets for 65 in Stroud's return. I mean, he just gets open, man. He's very polished as a route runner, very powerful in and out of the breaks as a rookie. And he now has 4 catches in 5 of his last 6. He's number 2 in air yards. He's number 2 in routes, right behind Nico. And the only one he's really gone under was against Denver's elite secondary. Chiefs secondary is okay. I mean, Trent McDuffie's very good, but isn't he going to be on Nico Collins? So the way they traditionally line up, that would be his side anyway. So That would leave Higgins on Jalen Watson, who's 71st in coverage rating, 91st in yards per game allowed among corners. Not a bad matchup for the Rook. So I think they're going to look his way again and again here, and he can kind of break off explosive plays with those double moves and with those in and out breakers that he runs very well. The Chiefs also allow the second highest completion rate on the year. Shows you how average their pass defense has been. And it's Patty Mahomes at home. I mean, we've seen him struggle a little bit here in terms of finishing drives. Most of those were on the road. He's thrown multiple touchdowns in 4 straight home games prior to that Indy game, which was just kind of a weird comeback situation where they let Kareem Hunt carry the ball 30-plus times to get there in overtime. Mahomes ran one in. Otherwise, 3+ touchdowns in all 4 home games leading up to that one. The Texans, I mean, they are more vulnerable running between the 20s, but they seem to be a little bit more vulnerable finishing drives via the pass. They do bulk up in that jumbo package on the goal line, make you try to finish through the air against their elite corners. So 60% of the touchdowns against the Texans in the last 3 have been through the air. They faced the 5th highest pass play rate overall this season, and they are 18th in red zone defense. Mahomes, obviously, fantastic finding the seams in the red zone. I mean, the Texans are a little bit vulnerable on deep shots as well, so maybe he gets one there, hitting Worthy or Tyquan Thornton or anyone really in that deep rotation. That Mahomes loves to take those deep shots if you get too aggressive with him. And as we know, Kelsey and Mahomes in a big game, always a reliable connection. So it's a couple angles here. I mean, there's the passing touchdown, which is plus money for just 2. And like I said, he had 3 in several home games in a row before that Colts game. Or you can take the completions, or I mean, you can put that in a parlay for him to get like 20+ completions. His line is 22.5. I mean, or juiced up at 21.5, and that's something he's done in all but 2 this season. And it's pretty consistent in terms of when that happened against the Eagles, the slowest paced, run heaviest team in the league. Very slow week 2 game where they just actually ran the clock. The Eagles like barely had 100 yards and won the game. It was just a gross game. So yes, he did not have a touchdown there. Similar in Buffalo. Buffalo obviously pounds the rock a lot as well. Very short game. He was under duress constantly by a very good pass rush there. And the Texans are very good rushing the passer. Not as much on the road. And they haven't really faced elite quarterbacks on the road this season. Not really since Stafford in week 1. Yeah, he had 1 touchdown pass in a low-scoring game. But we're talking about completions here. And what they do is they force you to methodically move it down the field. Maybe you get that deep shot I'm talking about. But they lead the NFL in adjusted yards per attempt allowed. So it's a 1 or 2 deep shot kind of situation. It's generally you have to move it slowly. They're 8th lowest in terms of the yards per completion allowed. And Mahomes will, dink and dime when that's what it dictates. He's just saying, I mean, last year against this very same Texans defense in December, he goes 28 for 41 for 260, had a touchdown, did not have 2. But yeah, I think it's worth it for the plus money to consider that. And I think the completions are probably a solid parlay leg, especially if you want to move it down to like 20 along with Chiefs to win or maybe the over, anything else you want here in this game. But that is all the time we have here for you in the Sunday Night Football breakdown. To recap, we like the Chiefs in the first half. We like a look at the over. And we like, of course, these props, Kareem Hunt and Jayden Higgins. They're just too low. Then gave you some options as far as how to attack the Patrick Mahomes prop. But we will be back with a Monday Night Football breakdown as well here to close Week 14. Got the Sunday plays up. Everything is up at landyourbets.com. Like and subscribe to the channels. We're pumping out these videos weekly here to give you NFL edges all season. And until we see you next, happy betting.